All right, hello. I'm very excited. We are going to get a chance to review and talk about my expectations for the 3 cards coming out later this month. I was going to do it on Loki, but I did get early access to Loki. So I felt like it wouldn't be fair to do a review when I was going to do a review of them, and then I didn't do a review yesterday. So right now we are about 15 minutes from Alioth releasing, and we're going to talk about him. So the first card that is releasing right now is called Alioth. Alioth is a 6/5 that says on reveal, destroy all enemy cards here this turn, including unrevealed cards. It cost 6/5 collectible card. Yes. It's an on reveal, has destroy synergies. Alioth loves lockdown style things, so having less lanes to deal with. So like if you have a Professor X or Storm that locks a lane down, Alioth can be very, very scary to go up against, especially if you don't have priority, because it includes unrevealed cards. The fact that it crushes cards that aren't revealed is pretty nuts. So any kind of lockdown strategy where you can use Professor X or Storm to win out a lane, then like forcing a win in that lane, I think is really good, especially in deck like a Sandman style deck. If there's only one card that's getting played, you know that your opponent kind of has to go into a certain lane to beat you. You play Alioth on that lane and murk the card. I think Alioth is going to be really, really strong. I mean, I don't think anyone expected Loki to be quite as powerful as Loki is, as far as how he's warping the meta currently. But I think that that's going to change how a lot of these cards are looked at with how crazy it was. But I think Alioth is pretty insane. Much like many of the cards coming out this week, I think Alioth is pretty insane. I really like this variant, by the way. I've never seen this variant before, but this variant looks exactly what it looks like in the Loki show, which is really cool. I think Alioth is going to be really good. It's going to make Galactus decks a lot stronger. This is kind of a checkmate card for Galactus. So if you play Galactus on 5 and you have advantage or priority, if you play Alioth, there's legitimately nothing that your opponent can do. 0 things your opponent can do to stop it. So it's the first true checkmate card for one of those decks. Like, I mean, obviously like Null and Death and things like that are scary, but I mean, Alioth just it's an auto win if you have priority, right? Cosmo, it doesn't matter. If you have priority, it doesn't matter. It destroys it upside down. It doesn't matter whatsoever. Armor, nothing can stop you as long as you have priority and there's no Cosmo or armor already in the lane. And if they Cosmo the lane, you weren't going to be able to play Galactus anyway. You said Cosmo? I don't know what that means. I think this card is really good. I think that it might get a little bit overshined currently with Loki being so prevalent in the meta. People might not be playing it all that much. It's just a win harder card. I mean, I disagree. I think it's goes in every Galactus deck, and I think that it's the best finisher they have. It's also like a 1-card finisher, which is really cool. Like Null can kind of feel that way. But you know, sometimes with Galactus, your opponent doesn't play many cards. The Null isn't that good. Alioth is always a win. I think in Lockdown, like if Lockdown makes a comeback or can make a comeback with this, I think that this card is busted in Lockdown. I would say this card's probably about a 4 out of 5. I don't know if it's going to be completely meta warping. Maybe if there's some changes with nerfs and like Loki gets tuned down a little bit, maybe it can be a bit more over the top. But I would say that 4 out of 5 is most likely what I'm saying for this, where it's just a very powerful card. It doesn't even need that much support. Like there's a chance you just throw this at the top end of some decks and just crunch lanes. Synergy with Angel and Baku. Yeah, the old Spider-Man slot, I could see it. Yeah, Arnim Alioth. Yeah, I'm gonna have Arnim Alioth in my deck that I play later. But I don't know if it's as strong as you'd think it would be, but it's very, very cool. Strength face down card does increase Null, yeah. So I'm really excited. I think Alioth is gonna be crazy. Silenex says, how often do you not know where your opponents are playing last year? Yeah, and the thing is, right, you can increase that odds with things like Storm and other things like that, which make it a lot harder. So I'm very excited. I think that the card is very strong, and I think that it's like a fun, big, powerful top end card. It was going to be released as a 5/5, and I think that was a little bit too iffy. Yeah, potential Kang synergy. Yeah. Ravonna Renslayer, a 3/3 with ongoing. Your cards with 1 or less power cost 1 less, minimum 1. People are sleeping on this card, man. I'm gonna say it. People are sleeping very, very, very hard on this card. I think this card's kind of insane. I think that a lot of people are not giving this card the credit that it deserves. It makes Cerebro 3 crazy. You get Cerebro, Mystique, both at discounts. Any deck that has like goblins in it, so if you run like a double goblin deck, you can get both of them for cheaper. Any deck that has Iron Man in it. 2 out of 5, 1 out of 5 would consider the fact Mobius recently got her. I very strongly disagree with that. I think Ravonna's crazy. I think Mobius is a card that's going to... People think Mobius is going to be in like every single deck, but I think that the way the meta will evolve is that Mobius will be in a lot of decks at first, and then people will start to realize that Mobius isn't really helping them because people are playing around Mobius being in every deck, and then Mobius falls out of favor. That is my expectation. Is that going to be right? I have no idea. But my expectation is that people are way, way, way overestimating how many decks Mobius is going to be in. Like I said, could be wrong, but that is how I feel people are looking at Mobius. So I don't think Mobius is as crazy of a factor. If Mobius is in so many decks, like, I don't know, like people just won't even want to start running the card, and then for the mirror, people will stop running the card, and then it'll just kind of like adjust things a lot. So I do think that Ravonna Renslayer is crazy. Also, your opponent has to draw Mobius, right? So if you play Ravonna Renslayer on 3, a lot of times people are going to get it in. I think that Ravonna Renslayer is about a 3 out of 5. I think that it's a really good card. It does need some support, obviously, because you need to factor your deck into having 0 cost and negative cost cards. It could be run in... I don't think it'll be run in like Mr. Negative. Potentially like a Jane Foster Mr. Negative deck. You'd want to just slot in Ravonna Renslayer as a backup plan to not getting Mr. Negative, because most of your cards are going to cost 0, so Ravonna will affect all of them. But she's not really good at ramping out Mr. Negative because she gets played on 3 and Mr. Negative will get played on 4 anyway. So personally, I think I'll give her about a 3 out of 5. I think she could be even better than that. But it is just going to depend on Mobius. Just like I said, it's very, very dependent on how often Mobius is going to be played. So many cards are going to have that exact problem. You know, Zabu, Sarah, Ravonna, Loki. They will start to lose play when Mobius is one of the most popular cards, and then we'll see a bunch more play when they're not. So we'll see. Let's jump over to Mobius M. Mobius. Ongoing, your cards can't be increased. Your opponent's cards can't be reduced. So one of the most powerful effects on a 2/3 possible. Just insane value. The fact that it does both is crazy. The fact that its interaction with wave is nuts, where it doesn't reduce your opponent's cards for waves, but it will bring up cards to 4. And for you, it'll bring cards down to 4, but won't bring cards up to 4. It's crazy how the wave interaction works. It's a counter deck to Sarah, Zabu, Loki, Ravonna Renslayer. Just a counter to so many different cards. I think wave will be everywhere once you see Mobius around. But again, I do think the problem is going to be that if Mobius just starts slotting into like every single deck, then he's just kind of like it just doesn't really matter that much, and then you kind of cut him in the mirror. So I do think Mobius is a 5 out of 5 card. I think there's no way that you can think of Mobius as less than a 5 out of 5. I don't think that I don't think you can say it's not a 5 out of 5 card. It will absolutely be a meta defining card, no matter what. It will be meta defining. It'll change. The frequency of Mobius in the meta will vastly just change what the meta looks like. And there will be times where Mobius is everywhere, and then Mobius starts to see a little bit of play, and then you'll see some very cool emerging decks that don't worry about Mobius. It's going to be really, really cool. If it becomes an everything kind of deck, and your deck is just worse without Mobius, probably become a problem. They might have to increase the cost or anything like that. But this is about as 5 out of 5 of a card as you can ever ask for, right? A card that does multiple things for you, a card that's premium statted, a card that's cheap. Just wonderful. Yeah, Rogue might start to see a lot of play, and then you just steal your opponent's Mobius and you laugh at them. Very important tech card, and I think a good tech card for the game. I think that a lot of like what people don't like in the game is like being able to cheat out a bunch of like things, crazy things at the end. That's why a lot of people are very frustrated with Loki meta right now, because it just seems like he just spews out a bunch of cards. So having a card that can hard counter that, I think, is really good. Having a card that can stop you from getting ice. Like, I mean, this just beats Iceman too, right? There's just so many cool little things that it actually helps. I do think that it's a little bit overstated how crazy it's going to be. But I do think it'll be a meta-defining card through and through. But I don't think it's going to pop off quite as much as some people think. So 5 out of 5. So we have 4 out of 5 for Alioth, 3 out of 5 for Ravonna Renslayer, and 5 out of 5 for Mobius. Loki, I probably would have rated a 3 out of 5. Just crazy. And yeah, he's definitely a 5 out of 5 card, which is crazy. So crazy month for Marvel Snap. Yeah, I'm the same. Loki's a 5 out of 5, 100%. I would have rated him at 3 out of 5. I was completely wrong. I'm saying before Loki came out, I would have rated him at 3 out of 5, but he's a 5 out of 5 card. So super cool. Thank you so much for listening to this. Make sure to sub to Binks Extra. This is Binks Extra's channel, not my regular channel. But hope that you all enjoy. Happy season. Hope you watch me play Alioth soon. All right, goodbye.